Hello there, English speakers. Today we'll talk about the most evil thing in the world, liberals. And I mean true liberals, not leftists. So we start with a big breath, of course, as usual. So a little bit of history. You know the French Revolution. King bad, everything bad, let's be very good, we get liberals in charge and then we start to chop off people's head in high speed. Because this happens when liberals take over. What happens when liberals took over after the Tsar? Everything becomes so good and nice. Prosperity for everyone and equality and so on. And yeah, let's invite Lenin. What could possibly go wrong? It always goes wrong. Liberals never ever learn. And nowadays inviting Islamists all over Europe. What could possibly go wrong? Liberalism always failed. You can't run a society with people who think that they are very good. If they have this belief, they are truly evil. You can't be good. It doesn't work like that. If you take, for example, radical socialists, they have a color of blood. They hate capitalism and so on. They don't really see themselves as any good people, and society can handle them. People look at them and say, nah, we don't want that. Maybe they can get forced to be scared by well-organized socialists that make a revolution. That can happen. But it doesn't really truly destroy society. And Islamists, they don't think they are the good ones, even if they think they are doing God's work and so on. But I mean, really, hanging people who are unbelievers and holy wars. It's not that they think that they are superior in the way that they are good. But I just want to screw with your head. Be careful. There is an old saying in USA that fascism will, if fascism ever come to USA, it will come in the form of liberalism. And I think we can see that with big tech and so on, that are truly creating a new kind of bad fascism. And what do these very good people do? They rape children, they do drugs, they sell drugs, they commit crimes, always. So if you have anyone who is saying that they are very good, they kind of have to prove that, otherwise you can just suspect that they are child sex traffickers and so on. There is this organization called SCAM, or actually SCAM, Science Association of America, that have now decided that they want senile old men that like to sniff little girls. It's very good to have that kind of president. They don't want a 4-time Nobel Prize winner. That would be bad. Why? They have, of course, very smart reasoning, because they are scientists, you would think. Trump is unscientific. Hand waving. I read that as we want child sex slaves, and we want bribes, and we want other crime and those on drugs too. Yeah, we want that. That's why we hate Trump. Can you find another solution why they do this very stupid, strange thing? But we'll come more to insanities later. The problem with academic research is that you write a paper and it doesn't matter if it's correct or not, as long as people are quoting you and citing your paper, and you can go and argue that despite that it's totally wrong and it doesn't agree with your hypothesis and you just make wrong conclusions, it doesn't matter, you can continue to produce and you will probably get money if your results are in agreement with what your donor wants to be true. So then you just make shit up and then you can argue for it forever and your career goes well. This is what happens if you don't, for example, build a car or something that have to work. If you just produce papers and you're producing bullshit, basically. This is the problem with academic research today. A little bit fun thing. Yesterday it was 47 years since our Swedish king entered the throne. So I have basically only have one king in my life. I should get another king. Not that I dislike the current king or anything. I just mean I need the experience of having more kings, I think. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. But I thought it was fun that our king has been sting for my entire life and a few more months. An article down there about this virus that you might have heard of, how it was created in a lab. I don't think that this is so interesting because, well, it's out now and if it was man-made or not is not that really important. But the media and so on seems to be very scared. Twitter, for example, have banned that scientist. They don't want this out for some other reason. And I think one of the big reasons is the entire industry of vaccine. If people start to figure out how it works, you take your nice little influenza virus, you go to lab, you do gain of function, and then oops, it got leaked out. Luckily you have a vaccine that you can sell for it. So sometimes your competitor is faster than you and their virus is the one that goes out and your vaccine is totally useless, but it doesn't matter because you make as much money anyway. And the more vaccines that are sold, the more virus labs there will be and the more leaks there will be. So maybe it's time to eat your vitamin D, your zinc and so on. Maybe. But people are stupid. But at least there are some people who are even more stupid, so we can have a little bit fun about them. You know, the Democrats in USA, they thought it was a brilliant plan to have a lot of riots and burning and destruction and death, and then they can blame everything on Trump, and they shut down their cities so that people get unemployed, and if they are not scared enough, they start to murder people in their elder care home and so on. Very good tactic. Do you think it worked so that everyone is now blaming Trump and think that these innocent Democrat cities where they have had riots, that they are very good? It turns out this report from Rasmussen says that people who lived close to the riots, they freaking hate the Democrats and they are leaving the party. They really didn't like having their city centers destroyed. Who could have guessed? Everyone in the world except USA's Democrat politicians, apparently. Then welcome to Sun Cycle 25 that is officially started now. This doesn't mean so much. We have a new sun cycle every 11 years. This seemed to be as strong as the current one, which means that the oceans will continue to be a little bit warmer and the areas far away from the oceans will become a little bit colder, but not a big change at all. And of course local climate change will be 10 times bigger than any global thing. So climate will change, there will be no biggie happen to the entire Earth for this 11 years, unless something totally unexpected is happening with the sun now. So worry about liberalism instead of the sun for the moment. And that's everything for today. I hope I have upset some brains.